Let's welcome to the stage Yossi, Vardi, and Orlando Jones, and Ben, Yo, come on up here. Let's do it. It's like a bad Emmy Awards sort of walk-on. The band is done playing. People have applauded twice. What are you guys, like, taking forever? This is supposed to be... I blame all you guys. Good to see you, man. Good to see you. All right. Yossi, hit it. Ben, that was really funny. I'm just saying. Okay, good. Bye.
All right.
Bye, Shelley.
Good afternoon. Good. You know that we have a very tough slot for the three of us because this slot after the lunch is known by professional speakers as the graveyard slot. And usually people tend to sleep at this slot, and our challenge is to keep you awake. Yes, please.
We should get started because we're putting them to sleep right now. Yeah,
they will get very quickly. About 2 weeks ago, I spoke in this slot, and the guy in the first row fell asleep. So I told the guy next to him, can you please wake him up? So he told me, you made him sleep, you wake him up. Okay, we have a great panel. To my remote right.
Orlando Jones.
Orlando Jones. Some of you may know him.
From television and film.
He's a very accomplished TV.
Black man.
Good. And in my immediate right is Ben who?
Ha.
Ben
who?
Ha.
We practiced this like 18 times. He got it wrong.
Yeah, it's very, very difficult. You have to
only two ways to say it. You get 50-50 chance.
Okay. Everybody of you, please repeat his last name. 1, 2, 3.
There, see? They all got it except you. It's like 300 to 1.
What can we do? And we are going to talk about the serious side of social media. That's very good.
We can all finish our sentences by now.
You can also participate. You don't have just to laugh. You know, you can take active, interactive part in the conversation. My two great friends in the panel, somebody said it's like a joke, this panel, a black, an Asian, and a Jew sitting on a panel. This is a good start of a joke.
There is a diversity conference upstairs, and we're going to go afterwards there and show them how it's done.
So can you please tell us a little bit what you are doing and how did you decide to do what you are doing? Mr. Jones.
Wow, I will make this as brief as humanly possible. I obviously am a content creator by and large. I work in content in two very specific kinds of ways. One is you hire me as talent in content, or you ask me to write and or produce said content. So I pretty much interface in that way across the entertainment business. I was a writer on A Different World. When I was 18 years old, I wrote campaigns for 7-Up, McDonald's, McJordan Special, Mazda, and so on and so forth in the advertising world. I found myself in the feature film business, late night television business. By and large, it's all about the telling of stories, and you know there are time constraints involved. That's mostly how I've spent my career. I could probably waste your time and tell you a bunch of other stuff that's irrelevant. The social media world changes all that in a really specific way because I think a new form of communication emerged 6 years ago. This will be me channeling Shelley Palmer, by the way. You know, there's been one-to-one, you know, and one-to-many what we're doing. And those have been the two major forms of communication since the beginning of time. We now find ourselves in a situation where we have this thing called many-to-many, and that's Twitter, and that's Facebook, and that changes the way that we do things. So now when I stand on a stage and tell a joke, the world's a little different because if you don't like my joke, even though you know I wanted to make you laugh, you might send a tweet out saying that I am a racist or an anti-Semite or what have you, and amass a force against me. Even though you know my intention was to make you laugh, I'm now in trouble because social media allows you to have that power, even though you know that wasn't my intention. I joke and say, I give offense. Or rather, I don't give offense. You take offense. It's a little wrinkle in there, you know, but it's created a difficult thing, both for brands, like myself as an individual and for big brands, because now people can all of a sudden get this negative message out there, and we're forced to try and figure out how to deal with it. I think that's probably what's the most relevant element of my being here today, and I think talking about that is going to be what's interesting about this panel. I throw the ball back to you, sir.
Thank you very much, and we will get back to you very soon. Now, Ben, can I call you Ben? I will save a lot of trouble, you know.
That'd be fun.
Good. Ben, first of all, I have to say that I like your sites a lot because one of them, what is the name of this site?
I can has Cheezburger.
I
Can has.
I can has Cheezburger. It's
Cheezburger.
very much like my version of English, so I can relate. I can relate to it. Can you tell us a little bit what are you doing and what is the great content you are offering to the rest of the world in order to make them better people?
Sure. So Cheezburger is the name of the company. I can has Cheezburger was one of our very first sites that we actually acquired.
You know, by the way, that, excuse me for interrupting,
Sure.
that cheeseburger is not kosher. Are you aware of it?
We can make it
That you
kosher.
may- you may
We can
offend-
make it kosher.
You may offend part of your
My
potential
wife's
customers.
vegetarian, so she relates with you.
Okay.
Soy
So-
cheese. Problem
So
fixed.
Cheezburger is a company that owns a lot of media
Are you aware that
properties.
cheeseburger is not? Why don't you call it the thing? You know the.
Yossi, you're gonna have to let me finish at some point. All right. So we run I Can Has Cheezburger, we run Fail Blog, we run a bunch of sites. It's about humor. It's about user-generated humor, people empowering themselves to express their sense of what they found to be funny. And we are a top 50 entertainment site, period. And so we're one of the largest destinations on the web. And we got there because I was bored at my job and wanted to be an entrepreneur. And so I think a lot of you can relate to that. But also because we believe that there's a seismic shift happening right now in the way we consume media. A lot of you who work in the media business see this firsthand, and we are a native platform for people to share their sense of humor. We're building it from scratch so that it's not about editorial control. It is not necessarily about the brand of the content. It is about the enjoyment and the service and the experience. And so we're a little bit, I guess, a heretic in that way. We think very differently about content and the value of content because that's the world that we come from.
I heard that you found a way how to monetize cats. Can you share with us this?
So I Can Has Cheezburger, we have a lot of photos of cats with captions. They're called lol
I
cats.
must interfere. You know that cats are also not kosher.
There's nothing that's kosher, apparently.
Oh, you are wrong, but go ahead.
Okay, all right.
Go
So-
filter fish. One. Keep going.
All right.
Good. Gefilte
I'm
fish.
stuck between these two guys and
two Jewish guy and one Asian. What can you?
It's true.
I don't even, okay, the question, yes. We have found a way to make money off of cats on the internet, which is like 90% of all email traffic on the internet contains a cat. Right? It's like we're like the, General Motors of the web. We carry everything. We are carried in everything.
Did
Or
you
you
ever
just-
consider to? I'm sorry.
I was going to say you're the Steve Jobs of cats. I think might be more accurate.
I'm not as angry as Steve Jobs, but yeah. Okay.
On behalf of the deceased man, I'm offended.
Can I ask you a personal question? He mentioned gefilte fish. Do you know what is gefilte fish?
It is yes, I do know what it is. I used it as part of a prank. It smells a lot.
That's true.
That's all I need to know as part of the prank. You're right over there?
I want to make a short survey about the demography of this conference. Who in the crowd ate gefilte fish in the last year? Raise your hand.
That's pretty good.
Okay,
that's
that
pretty
gives us a
good.
good idea.
That's a high volume number in this room.
I want to tell you something, if I may, on a personal level, that my mother had a small restaurant in Israel in the time of the austerity, and she was one of the pioneers of Israel in biotechnology because she was able to turn every substance to gefilte fish or chopped liver. Tell me, Mr. Ha,
Yes.
why don't you make a site about why only cats? Why not fish or gefilte fish or?
We have 60 sites that we run. We have tens of thousands of sites that our users have created. So somewhere there is a fish waiting for you.
Okay, good. And how many views you have per month?
We have about 500 million page views a month.
500 million
Yeah.
page views a month.
Yeah, and we have the fifth
Average time per page.
per visit. It's like 9 minutes.
9 minutes.
We are the #1 in humor in terms of time spent on our site. We waste more of your time
Yeah.
and your assistant's
What are you-
time than any other site on the
What
internet.
are you doing to
bar none.
Activity in your company has gone down because of this site and cats.
Wow,
Just know that.
there's some studies I can cite that I'll tell you otherwise, but I paid for those, so.
Mr. Jones, what do you say when you hear that this gentleman who came from the left field, this is how you say it in America, right?
Yes, from
That's
left
a
field.
nice expression.
No
What
problem.
is this expression that you told me about the basketball?
Oh, you mean
Alley-oop.
alley-oop?
Yeah,
He's
you-
alley-ooping you right now. You gotta
Yes.
talk-
Are you alley-ooping me? Is that what we're doing?
yeah, no, but he came from the left field, and he has 500 million views per month
Yes.
in an industry which was not existing 20 years ago.
True.
What it's going to do to your industry?
Kill it. Were you expecting a less truthful answer?
I tell you what you should have said. You should have said that talent.
I'm feeling
Talent
really good
will
right
I
now.
mean,
prevail.
look, I can give you a more real answer if you would like one. I mean, look, studios, as you well know, have windows by which they release content, and they obviously try and keep said content away from you. We've been talking about that all day. We all know that that content has been stolen at a very high rate by various people, and some
You
people
mean
are
stolen?
consuming.
Liberated, you mean?
Liberated. Liberated. Thank you. Thank you. Have you considered being a lawyer? Because let me tell you, you could get a lot of black guys off. He no steal, he liberate. He liberate. What you talking about, he steal? This guy found your car, he liberate from you. The car needed to be free. What, the black car had to stay with the white man? No. Liberate. I like you.
Wow, he does a dead-on impression of you.
I like you. You're good. I like it. But I think what...
If you will call me a lawyer, my lawyer will call you.
Okay. But obviously what's happening with sites like yours is changing our business dramatically because it's not releasing behind windows, and the rules of making content on the internet are different than our rules. The storytelling rules are different. The internet rules are, I can make a cat video on Tuesday and you can't stop me. Those are the rules. The entire nature of internet content is about rebellion, whereas ours has a commerce component built into it. We're telling you a story on television and films for the purposes of content. That changes the paradigm because it changes the way the consumer consumes said content, frankly, in more ways than we're talking about now. So when you look at that, you go, the future is frankly bleak if you're trying to get somebody to tune in to watch Revenge every week, because that world and that audience is much smaller and far more fragmented. And I think that's going to be tough for our business unless we catch up and figure it out. And right now we're not doing that. We are trying to police technology, and we saw that fail with the music business. But for whatever reason, we don't seem to care. So for me as a content creator, it's a big part of what I do and why I'm sitting on this panel, and why I like to work specifically with advertisers in branded content in a real way, as opposed to talking about it in this sort of esoteric way. And I think that it has been interesting for me throughout my career, and I think it's going to get more interesting in the future. That's the real answer. Thank you for the alley-oop.
By the way, another alley-oop, this is how you call it. Now, seriously, before we came into this room, the current chief executive officer of Y&R, which is, as you know, one of the biggest advertising agencies in the world, met Mr. Jones and bowed and expressed his very deep appreciation in regard to something you've done many, many years ago. Can you share with us what was it and why he was so excited?
I did a 7-Up commercial. I don't know. I don't know how exciting it was. It's pretty straightforward. I worked with Young and Rubicam.
You wrote it. I mean, you created it. That's the
I
thing.
did. You know, look, content creation is in partnership with a lot of people. You know, I had Young and Rubicam. I had a production company. I had writers. You know, we worked together to collaborate to create it. What was different about it was we were doing a character representing a brand. It wasn't me. It was a character. We were also looking at it differently. We were doing 15-second ads that were expandable to 30s and 45s by virtue of allowing you, the brand, to test that. And that brand messaging got created, frankly, not in a very creative way. It got created off of what kept the brand up at night. They were having problems in high traffic areas because of Coke and Sprite. They were having problems with shelf space. So for high traffic areas, I stood in the middle of a freeway and put a machine there. And eventually a truck hit the machine, and that was one ad. Make 7 of Yours was another ad that was about trying to get their name recognition out because they were having troubles with name recognition. So the slogan needed to have that. So there was a specific set of data points that came from the brand, and I wrote the campaign based on those data points to target the audience they wanted to target. So that was a sort of different way of thinking about advertising at the time and trying to interface with a specific group. I think that was why it was successful, but to be honest, we don't know why it was successful. It was lightning in a bottle. We got lucky. It worked.
But the thing is, I think if you did that today, turning brands into characters work better today on the internet than ever before because of social media, because of our desire to connect with people, right? So I would actually love to see that in one way, shape, or form revised and see how it does in the web, because I think it has a lot of what I call mimetic ability, the ability to turn a concept of an ad into a meme that other people can use. And basically what you did was, it was wordplay. Make 7 up yours became make 7 up yours. And you can do that with a lot of sentences. And that can become a part of the campaign, part of the exchange of ideas.
You can't convince young people to do anything because they define themselves by saying they're different than their parents. So for me, that whole campaign was about embracing an existing sentiment, which is rebel culture. You know, I'm going to do it on my own. You don't know anything, Mom. You're stupid. So it was giving them a way to say up yours.
Stuff that's hard.
That's true.
Right,
That's
so
true.
there is a way to get them to do things. There is a way to increase the likelihood. And it's about access and ease and about self-expression. And if you nail those things, you do increase the likelihood that young people who feel disenfranchised or not part of this culture will start doing that. And we see this on the internet over and over again.
So are you hiring me? Is that what's going on here?
It's done.
Oh.
You are not a cat
He's got
yet.
a job. This is awesome.
You're not a cat yet. He's also not kosher.
Hello.
Is that right?
And how many of you ate a cat during the last year? Ben, I have to ask you something. When we spoke outside, we agreed that Jewish mothers and Asian mothers have some common things like driving their siblings crazy, you know, et cetera, et cetera.
Black mothers are in that, trust me.
Yeah, I trust you completely. You know, I always say that being Jewish mother, it's not a gender issue and it's not an ethnic issue, it's a state of mind. So after your parents invested in your education, et cetera, they now see their son go and promote on the internet jumping cats. How do they feel about it?
Well, I tell them I'm a doctor. And then they stop asking questions.
I have to tell you something about this. I'm a doctor, really. I got my doctorate from the Technion, which is a very prestigious institute in Israel.
Yeah, but an Asian mom will say, you're not a real doctor.
That's
You know
exactly.
what I
My
mean.
mother said, not
You're
that
like a
I'm not a real
dentist.
doctor. She said I'm a doctor. She said even worse. She said I'm a doctor kaker, which I don't even want to explain to you the meaning of the word, but it's very diminishing because I'm not doing research. She said that all my cousins are doctors and professors, and she's the only one who have an idiot as a son. And not only she was expert in biotechnology, but she also had a deep understanding of genetics. She said they are smart and you're an idiot because they are not contaminated with the genes of your father. So.
Isn't there a Broadway show called Old Jews Telling Jokes? Okay. Is he from there or is he not?
This is
Okay.
why he invited me, you know. So. Orlando, how you are going to move your talent to the internet?
I'm going to get a flip camera. I think the question is, do I need a cat in order to get on your site? I think that's a really more legitimate question.
So 10%.
And how do we amortize that?
Right,
How do we monetize it is the real question.
So 10% of our content is related to animals, and 90% of all the stuff that we do is nothing related to animals. It's about making people happy. And
I'm not interested in the other 90%. Just get
Okay,
back to the
just-
cats, please.
Tell him the old Hollywood saying that you cannot compete with children and dogs, right?
Can't compete with children and dogs.
But he's not dogs,
Or black
he's
dudes,
cats.
for instance. We have one good myth, so, you know, we're going to win.
I have to make a poll. You know, we have, according this clock here. We are already 17 seconds over time. Who wants that the organizers will extend this panel by 10 minutes?
Oh my God. No.
Well, ordinarily that would be just fine. But seeing as how we have an Asian, a black, and a Jew on a seat, no, we weren't going to go there. Thank you, gentlemen. Let's give it up for these insane human beings. Yossi, Vardi, Ben Hun, Orlando Jones.